I first saw network marketing when I was 17 years old. I'll never forget, I showed up at an office thinking I was showing up for a job interview, and I ended up in this presentation room with a bunch of other people that were all there supposedly for the same interview. And the person in front of the room was dynamic. I'll never forget, he was talking about capitalism, free enterprise, business ownership. I'd never heard this type of language from anybody. I wasn't raised in a wealthy home. I certainly wasn't raised around business owners or entrepreneurs. So this was a foreign concept. I wanted to succeed, I think like a lot of people, but I really just didn't know how to do it. And the gentleman in front of the room that day was giving me an opportunity to be a part of the free enterprise system. And I grabbed it. I got excited about it. And the challenge was I didn't make any money. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. And they offered training programs. I showed up to as many as I could. And there was a lot of money involved. And these were very expensive programs. And I showed up, and I was kind of like I was paying a tuition. And over time, I got disillusioned because for whatever reason, maybe I was too young. I was 17 years old, 18, 19, not figuring, well, I wasn't 19. At 18, I was involved, and I didn't see the path. Life got in the way. And fast forward several years, I went through some very difficult times. And at 22, I got started again with another company. Now, this time, though, I really didn't want to do it. This time, I thought I knew what those things were. I'd done that before. And this waitress at a restaurant from a friend of mine was inviting me to this presentation. She was inviting consistently. And I was always saying no. I always had some reason. I think I ultimately ran out of excuses. And so I agreed to show up under the condition that she would stop inviting me. And of course, once I showed up at the event, I made my way into the middle of the room. I sat down in the seat, kind of arms crossed, and I thought, I know what this is. I'm just going to endure this, presentation. I'm going to get out of here. But then again, I saw that person in front of the room talking about capitalism, free enterprise, and at the time, I was cleaning floors in a machine shop. I worked for $9 an hour. I lived in the city of Riverside in the state of California in the United States. And I commuted from that city to a city called Santa Ana, which was in Orange County. It was typically about a 40 to 45-minute drive one way without traffic. But because of the congestion on that particular roadway system in Southern California, it would take sometimes up to almost 2 hours to get to work just one way. So my commute was insane. I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get in my truck by 4:10, 4:15. I'd head to work to punch that time clock by 6. Then from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would work, and the same kind of traffic conditions on the way home, get home around 8 o'clock in the evening. And that was my life. And I started looking around at all the people that were working there for many years longer than I was. And this is kind of how you can see your future, right? You look at the people who are in the same occupation and the same place of business that have been there for a lot longer, and you can kind of see your future. And man, nobody was happy. I didn't see anyone living a great lifestyle. I didn't see anyone accomplishing their goals and their dreams. I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't want to be where these people are. Not that I'm better than them or they're not good people. They're great people. I just didn't want to go down that same road. I wanted to achieve success. And so when I was sitting in that room, I saw a way out. I'm like, man, what if? You know what I mean? Like, what if it works? What if it's real? Because so many people say, oh, it's not. It's one of those things. And my mentor said, Josh, if you buy someone's opinion, you're going to buy their lifestyle. So if you're going to listen to someone, they better have the lifestyle you want to have. Because if they don't, then why listen to them? Why listen to a man or a woman who doesn't have the results you want in your life? And that made sense to me. That was planted in my mind years ago in that first company. So I thought about it. It was true, and I got started. And this time, I did something I didn't do the first time. I genuinely sought out mentorship. I realized that the way the compensation plan works in these companies is the people who come in before you are financially incentivized to help you. So you don't have to pay for these coachings, these coaching programs. You have people who are paid based on your performance. So I started going through my upline and people, and there's a lot of weirdos in there. Of course, there's weirdos everywhere, but I ignored those people. I found the people that really knew what they were doing, and I attached onto them. Typically, they were at the events. I showed up to every event. I showed up to everything. And I started getting book recommendations and audio recommendations. I started listening to books on tape, and I started reading books. And I wrote this book called Inevitable. It's about tipping the scales, and I started adding so much value on the side of the scale that mattered for success. And again, in the book Inevitable, it talks about, most of us were raised a certain way and we learned certain things that have us thinking how we think today. And most of it, unfortunately, is on the wrong side of the scale. If you're thinking of a scale of balance, it's outweighed our opportunities. It's unfairly shifted things. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. And meaning that the associations are so important, but the associations of the wealthy, the associations of the successful people were out of reach. And all I had to do to get there was add more stuff to this side. And that was books that I read, that was tapes that I listened to, it was conventions I attended. And it started to add weight until eventually the scales shifted in my life. And so that's what I was doing. I was showing up to everything, getting around the mentors, and I got into action. It got me motivated. Because what happened in showing up to everything, whether it's the webinars that you're showing up on or these videos like this, most importantly though, you gotta get in the field with the people. Because I started seeing people that were like me, that were succeeding. You see, in the beginning, I used to think these people were actors. You see me on a video right now and you're thinking, oh, sure, this guy's trying to pitch me. Yeah, I'm not trying to pitch you. I'm sharing with you my experiences, and I can see how you could feel that way, because I felt that way too. From the people on the stage or the people on the videos, I thought, man, they're just paid actors, or I started making excuses for them, because it was easier to make excuses for why they were winning than it was to really look in the mirror and say, you know what, the reasons why I'm not winning are X, Y, Z. I'm not doing it. That's a hard pill to swallow. And so when I started showing up at these events a lot, I met people who I knew weren't paid actors. They were there just like me. I saw them on the first day they showed up. And we made conversation, we became friends, and I watched that person start to succeed. And I thought, man, maybe I can. All those little steps they were like blocks, building my confidence, building my belief. Again, weight on the side of the scale that matters, that started to tip things in my life. And it changed things for me as I started to see it. And that courage, that confidence translated when I went out to go do the actions that are in the system of the program. I started following the system, and it finally started to work. And my life drastically changed. I went from basically being, living in a rundown house built in 1927 with holes in the floor, that I couldn't even pay. It was in foreclosure, my car being up for repossession, to being a multimillionaire in a handful of years, not because I was better, but because I paid the price. I was willing to go out there and do it. And you can do it too. I'm not special. I'm not better than anybody. And I know a lot of other people on the internet or in particular business roles, they like to kind of say how awesome they are, how they're the best. The reality is, all they did is they got around the right people and they worked very hard. Same things you can do. You can go do that. You can get around the right people. We have plenty of the right people to help you if you're sincere in your quest to become successful. But ultimately, you still got to work. If you want to go into the gym and you and me go in there, there's no way me lifting weights is going to help you get in shape, or in the shape that you want to get into. You got to lift the weight. I can be there to spot you. I can be there to help you, but you got to push that weight. You got to run on that treadmill. You got to do the exercises. And if you do it, you'll start to get the muscle. You'll start to gain the strength. In business, you start to follow our programs. You start to listen to the coaches. You start to listen to our advice. You're going to start to gain that financial strength. You're going to start to increase your earning ability, and we'll help you, because it actually benefits us to help you. The more we help you win, the more we win. So we're looking forward to being on this journey with you, guys. Let my life, let my testimonial be a reflection of what you could do should you only do the same thing. Should you put in the same effort? Should you put in the same time? Should you show up to the events the same way that Cindy and I did? You can accomplish the same goals. In fact, I would believe that you can accomplish even more. You're only limited to what you believe, what you think you can do, and what you're willing to do. And what I'm excited about is seeing you unleashed, to seeing you in that space where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I know you were made for something more. I know you were born to accomplish a goal. You were born to do something. It's your time. It's your chance. It's your opportunity. But you got to take the action. Make it happen. And I'm looking forward to your success. I'm looking forward to seeing you at one of our events coming up real soon. I'm looking forward to shaking your hand. I'm looking forward to getting to know your story. And ultimately, I'm looking forward to watching you on stage or watching you on a video like this talk about how you went from where you are to where you ultimately want to be.